What is good, everybody? I appreciate you rolling in. All right. So the NFL just dropped what their predictions are for every team's comp pick for the 2025 NFL draft. And I understand that we just completed the 2024 draft, but the NFL does this every year where a few weeks after the draft is completed, they do send out their projections of comp picks for the following season. Now, why is that important? Why is that important to us? Now, one, we have a lot of cap space to deal with, right? We currently have just over 15 million. I'm including the numbers aren't out yet, but I'm including what we've given up for guys like Jalen Guyton, for Michael Gallup, as well as Andres Pete that we just acquired in free agency. And so I'm assuming we're going to have around 14, 15 million. But once June 1 hits, we're going to get 24 plus million because of Jimmy G. So we're going to have a lot of money to play with. Now, what do we do with that money? Right? We can re-sign, extend some contracts that are currently on our roster, which I would be a complete fan of. You got guys like Malcolm Kuntz. You got guys like Robert Spillane. You got guys like Nate Hobbs that we need to really take a look at, and hopefully we do extend their contracts just a little bit. So I think some of that money is going to go into that, but we also have some holes on this team that we can definitely address via a trade. And so what names out there could possibly bolster this roster to really make us that much more competitive? And if you can take into consider some of these comp picks that you may receive, you might be able to mess around with some of the later end picks that you have, knowing that some of these picks might come hit you for the next NFL draft next season. And so that's kind of what I want to touch on, because it does make it very interesting. It's good to know what comp picks are coming your way so that you'd be okay with dealing away some of these later round picks for a player that could really help you for this season. And so before we get into it, if you can, please like this video, hit that like button. If you want, hit that subscribe button, but I am doing a giveaway at 3,000 subscribers. So if you want to be a part of that, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified anytime I drop another video, hit that notification button as well. I definitely appreciate it. And so let's kind of dive into this real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of talk about what the comp picks are exactly, right? Let's break down what they are. And I'll kind of read it as it says on the page. So it's become obvious over the last few years that in many cases, teams are beginning to factor a comp picks in the next season's draft into the roster building process. And that's kind of what I just talked about, right? Knowing that you have some of these picks coming your way, you might be more willing to dealt the picks that you have currently in order to kind of bolster your roster. And so teams will make mid-year additions or sign players to one-year deals, understanding that it could turn into a future comp pick, pay them now and receive a bonus pick later. So how do compensation picks work? Let's kind of dive into that just a little bit. And so the number of comp picks allotted each year is limited to the number of teams in the league, 32, per the collective bargaining agreement. However, comp picks are not divided up equally amongst the teams, and no team can receive more than 4 comp picks in a single year. To qualify for comp picks, teams must end up with more qualifying free agents lost than gained in a particular year. And so at the end of the season, the NFL just, what they do is they basically take into consideration what you lost in free agency and what you gained, and they kind of see which one outweighs the other one. So teams are awarded comp draft picks between rounds 3 and 7, and the draft based upon a league formula that takes into account a player's average salary per year, snaps count, and postseason awards. While there is an expected level of compensation for a player based on the amount he signs for, the playing time or lack thereof is in the upcoming season could alter the expectations. So basically, even though you might be allotted certain picks based on how much playing time certain players get, could change that up a little bit. And so again, it could improve those picks or it could minimize its value. And so that's kind of breaks down what the comp picks are. Now let's take a look at what we are projected to be awarded for the 2025 season. So as it stands right now, we are projected to gain two additional 6th-round draft picks. Now keep in mind, all these comp picks are picked at the end of that round. So it'll be 2 more 6th-round draft picks at the end of the sixth round. So you can almost call them early seventh round picks. Now, the reason why we gained those was key free agent losses: Josh Jacobs to the Packers, Jermaine Illuminor to the Giants, Bilal Nichols to the Cardinals, Amik Robertson to the Lions, Austin Hooper to the Patriots. Now, the key free agent additions is Christian Wilkins, Gardner Minshew, and Harrison Bryant, the tight end that we got from the that formerly played for the Cleveland Browns. And so the losses of Jacobs and Nichols end up being canceled out by the additions of Wilkins and Minshew as qualifying free agents. While Bryant's contract cancels the loss of Hooper, that figures to leave the Raiders with 2 sixth-round selections based on the comp pick formula. And so now, just keep in mind, the comp pick formula, it isn't complete science. It's not exact science. I think a lot of people still try to figure out how they weigh those evaluations. But as it stands right now, the NFL is predicting that we're going to get 2 six-round picks. And so let's take a look at what our picks look like next year. We currently have a first round, second round. We basically have a pick in every single round. And so tack on 2 more six-round picks. We might be able to play around with a little bit with our current picks, whether it be a fifth round, a sixth round, maybe even a seventh. Those 3 picks, we might be able to deal a little bit if we think the value is right with a possible free agent a possible trade in this offseason. And so let's take a look at the depth chart. Before I kind of give you my opinion, let's take a look at the depth chart. And so obviously I think our quarterback situation is solid. I don't think we're going to move around there. There's really nothing out there that I would either trade for or possibly pick up in free agency. Our running back room seems pretty solid. I don't think there's going to be much movement there. Now, a lot of the big free agent signings was in the receiver room. Michael Gallup kind of adds that possession receiver, veteran receiver type, definitely a prove-it deal that we signed him to. We just picked up Jalen Guyton. And that adds the speed. That adds the speed to the field. And so he's going to compete. He's going to compete to be that probably third, fourth receiver that can stretch the field and open up the underneath routes for a lot of our starters. And then you got, obviously, the undrafted free agents that we picked up. You got Lededrick Griffin, another speedster that can stretch the field, and Ramel Keaton. He can stretch the field as well. And so I think we're I don't see us really either trading or picking up anybody else in free agency. Our tight end room is pretty solid. The offensive line room, now, you never know. You do got guys like David Bakhtiari out there, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore now that we picked up Andres Pete. And so I don't foresee really any more moves on the offensive line, unless, again, I'll add this and throw this out there. One thing that a lot of teams will start to evaluate is as teams start to cut down to that 53-man roster, there will be some good players that get cut from other teams. One great example is the Eagles. The Eagles picked up 2 starting caliber corners in the draft this past draft. So you got 2 corners, veteran corners, sitting on that squad that either they'll cut them or they might be some trade targets. So, but as it stands right now, I think the offensive line, I'm not sure if we're going to move too much as it stands right now. And then let's take a look at the defense. Could we use some depth at the edge rushing position? We got Max Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz. I think there's a good chance that we can use some depth there, but I'm going to be posting some videos on some undrafted free agents that we picked up that I'm pretty excited about. I don't think we need to mess with the D-line at all. We could bring in some linebacker depth. That's somewhere that we can look at. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think we need to pick up a potential depth piece when it comes to the linebacker position? The safeties are pretty solid, especially with Trey Taylor coming in as one of our 6th-round picks. I think that was a solid pickup. Now, where we do need some help is in the corner position. This is kind of what I want to talk about and get you guys' feedback a little bit. And so that kind of breaks that all down. Okay, guys, we're going to gain 2 additional 6th-round picks. That's what is projected. And we also have a 5th, 6th, and 7th. So we have some later round picks to play around with if we want to make a trade in this offseason to bring in some talent and bolster this roster. And one position that I definitely think we should target is possibly the corner position. We have the free agents out there. We have Xavier Howard. We have Stephon Gilmore, Adoree Jackson. Those guys are still out there in free agency. Could we take a shot on them? Yeah, we could. But if we make a trade, if we make some sort of move that is going to bolster this roster, especially this defense, because in my opinion, because of how our defense is made up versus our offense, our easiest path to success is, I think, is through the defense. Our defense isn't to go into the season as a top 10 defense, possibly a top five. And so if we continue to bolster this defense, we might be able to have an offense that just needs to score 21, maybe 24 points to really give us a shot at keeping us in the game and giving us a fighting chance and possibly leading us to a potential, and I'll throw this out there, a 10-7 type of season. Okay. And so that's what I think. I think that if we continue to bolster this defense and we come in and we can shut down, beat the Chiefs like we did last year. We beat the Chiefs because of our defense. It wasn't because of our offense. Christmas Day, we beat the Chiefs because of our defense. And so if we continue to grow on that, I think it can make for a very, very exciting season next year. And so one position I'd like to target, now that we know that we will most likely get these additional 6-round picks, find somebody that we can deal away, maybe offer a 5th round, maybe or maybe a 6th round, maybe a conditional 5th round, what have you, to get in a top name corner that could possibly help us in this secondary. And so, guys, let me know in the comments down below. I think it's great news. I think it's always good to know what additional picks are coming your way so that you can really take a look at free agency and figure out, okay, or not free agency, sorry, look at potential trade propositions and see where can we make a move and where can we make a move and it doesn't really hurt us with some potential picks in the 2025 NFL draft. And so I appreciate you sticking with me. Guys, again, like this video, subscribe, turn those notifications. I'll be dropping some more videos on some of our undrafted free agents that I really like. So I'll be breaking them down. But I will jump on here and really digest some players out there that we could possibly trade for. And with these additional 6-round picks, I think we have some trade capital. I think we have some capital now that we can potentially make a move. So let me know in the comments down below if there's someone that you would like us to trade for now that we have some additional picks. So again, I appreciate you sticking with me. Like this video, subscribe, turn those notifications, and I'll see you guys on the next video. I'm out.